Well, that stinks. And for the last two games, so have your Philadelphia Phillies outscored 19-6 total by the bottom dwellers themselves, the Miami Marlins, have the second worst record in baseball. It didn't help that the young man with the coming out party didn't get many outs in Seth Johnson. Ricky Bottalico, Ben Davis, I'm Michael Barkan, Ruben Amaro Jr. to come as we welcome you to Phillies Postgame Live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. This baby was over in the third inning, unfortunately.
Well, it was over when Seth Johnson stepped on the mound, to be completely honest with you.
We didn't know that at the
I
time.
will say this much. I mean, Ben and I noticed early on. I mean, you go to 2-0 counts and you're throwing sliders early on in the ball game. That tells me that you don't want to attack. You don't want to attack hitters. You have to attack in this league. If you kind of sit on your heels and wait for them to make a mistake up at the plate, you got problems. You have to go and attack hitters. I didn't see him up there attacking very much. And I mean, when I love the outer thirds of the plate. You use those outer thirds of the plate, you're in really good shape. He was using the middle third up and down. Up, down, in the middle third. You can't do that.
And it didn't help that the bats were nowhere to be found against Edward Cabrera, who did pitch well, but, 7 shutout innings, had a no-hitter going for a time.
Yeah, Cabrera was good. This stuff was really good today. He was down in the zone. His four-seamer, two-seamer, the change-up at 93, 94. He was really good today, and you got to tip your cap. However, it's tough when you get behind in a ball game as much as the Phillies did. I knew the Phillies were toast. After the first batter of the game, Edwards was up, and he got a 3-2 slider for ball 4. You're just inviting runs at that point, and that shows me he doesn't have command of his fastball nor belief or conviction in that fastball to throw. It's a mid to high 90s fastball, and we just didn't see a whole lot of it today, unfortunately.
Let's go down to Miami right now, check in with Ruben Amaro Jr., call today's game with Scott Fransky. Ruben, I'll put it right to you. When you were general managing this team and you GM them to 4 playoff appearances and a pennant win, assistant GM on the World Champions, so you've seen it. What would your reaction have been, knowing your team's going to be ultimately, you hope, okay, going to the playoffs and then some, but they put 2 of these together, including 10-1 today?
Well, it's not a fun baseball. There's no question about it. These are games that you would like to at least be a little bit more competitive in. But, again, it starts with the starting pitching. It always does. And if you're not getting good quality starting pitching, then it makes it difficult. Aaron Nola struggled to get in sync. He talked about it yesterday that just could not get in sync, and the Marlins made him pay. And then the young man today, Seth Johnson, he just could not command his fastball, and he was not able to stay out of the middle of the plate, as Ricky stated. And if you don't do that, this is the major leagues. Doesn't matter what kind of quality a team it is. They're going to make you pay, and that's exactly what happened over the last couple of games here.
It's a little embarrassing. I mean, you go down to Miami, you take the first 2 games, and then all of a sudden you give up 19 runs to this team in the next 2 games. What do you take out of this, with a positive? I mean, you're with the team right now. You're going to get on a plane and come back to Philly. What are you taking home with you from this 4-game series?
Well, I think the biggest positive is that these games are over. You can't do anything about them. What you can do is sort of maybe learn from them a little bit, but these games are over. You got to look forward, and I think that's basically the theme of what you're going to get out of Rob Thomson and the rest of this crew. I mean, there's a veteran group. The other part of it, I think there was a little bit of a positive, were some of the at-bats for some of the veteran guys, especially late in the game. We talked about it during the broadcast. You had good at-bats by Kyle Schwarber, by Harper, by Stott. That's a good sign because they weren't giving at-bats away, and they were still grinding them out. That's a positive. They played pretty decent defense today, which they did not do yesterday. So there's a couple of things that you can look forward to. But again, I think the biggest thing is that these games are over, and now they can look forward and get back to CBP and play better baseball.
Ruben, a 1-2-3 inning for Jose Alvarado today out of the bullpen. Do you think he's starting to be out of the woods a little bit with his stuff?
Yeah, I think it's 4th or 5th straight appearance where he came in and did not give up a run. The thing that I really like is the fact that he's throwing more consistent strikes. He's staying on the plate. In addition to that, I see that his cutter is not really a cutter right now. It's actually a little bit more of a breaking slider. And so I like the shape of that pitch as well. It's really about, 1, his ability to throw strikes, and 2, his confidence. And I think he's starting to gain on that a little bit. I don't think that Topper's going to throw the guy into the 9th inning anytime soon, but he's getting closer and closer to where he was several months earlier, and during the course of last year when he's one of the better left-handers in all of baseball.
Ruben, these games are over, but the games with the New York Mets are ahead, and I don't want to get into panic mode, certainly, but I will say the Mets have won 9 straight games and are right now 6.5 games back, with their game against Cincinnati tied up at 1 apiece. So not only the playoffs are, the division's at stake, the playoffs are potentially at stake with 19 games remaining. This is not over, at least if you're the Mets, right?
Well, I mean, they're playing great baseball. They got a lot of mojo going, and they're getting some great starting pitching. They're coming up with the big base hits. I mean, I don't know how many over the last month or so, how many walk-off hits they've had. So they got their mojo going. Again, this will make for great theater over the next the next couple of weeks, because the Phillies are going to play the Mets, and they're going to go head-to-head. So the Phillies are going to have to play good baseball against them, and I do have a lot of confidence in this ball club. I think this ball club is poised to go ahead and take this division, but you can't take anything for granted, especially with a team that's playing that hot. We saw what happened years ago when St. Louis got super, super hot, and they ended up getting into the playoffs late, and ended up beating up on the Phillies in the playoffs, and anything can happen. And when you're a hot team, that matters.
I thought Utley was going to hit that out. I thought it was gone, and you were moving on. But that's all I can think about. I'm not going any further. All right, Rube. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you during the week. See you at the ballpark.
See you guys soon.
Appreciate it. Ruben Amaro Jr. calling today's game with Scott Fransky. And of the standings, National League East up to the moment, there are the Mets 6.5 games back. And don't tell me I'm saying the sky is falling. I'm just stating what is, which is the Mets have won 9 straight. The Phillies just lost 2 straight to the Marlins, and their season record against the Marlins is 7-6 against the 3rd worst team in baseball. And the Mets are coming for them. And Ricky Bo, the Phils have what it takes to, hold them off. Give them a stiff arm.
They got a place called Citizens Bank Park that they're coming home to. It's home cooking for them, and I think that could kind of get them back on track. I did not like the way they played this series whatsoever. I mean, it looked, though, the first 2 games, it looked like it was the Phillies against a Little League team. All of a sudden, how do you let this happen? How does Aaron Nola let that happen in yesterday's game where the Phillies gave up 9 runs and then 10 runs today? That's 19 runs in two days to that team. That's a little disturbing to me. And I think we know about the offense. I think we've seen it turn on, turn off, turn on. And I think that's been somewhat annoying this season. We saw it last year in the playoffs. We don't really want to go back there, but that's what's in the back of everybody's mind.
Yeah.
Is this offense going to disappear like this, like they did today and yesterday in the playoff series?
It's a frustrating aspect to the way this team has played and continues to do so up to right now. 19 games remaining, Ben, 7 against the Mets. So the Mets will have plenty to say about what happens come September 30th in the end of the regular season.
Without a doubt. The Phillies control their own destiny. That's the bottom line. They take care of the Mets, so you can't look that much forward to that series and the series in New York next weekend. But what you have to do is just realize you got the Rays coming in tomorrow. They'll be back home, sleep in their own beds, cook their own meals. They'll be ready to rock and roll. And I think the last 2 games are really going to leave a bad taste in the Phillies' mouths. And it should, because they got dismantled those last 2 games by really, and I don't like to say this, but really a minor league baseball club in the Miami Marlins. And I think it's going to leave a bad taste in their mouth, as I said, and they're going to come back tomorrow ready to rock and roll.
I hope you're right.
Guys got to get healthy, too.
Yeah.
It's been irking me for about 2 weeks now. If you notice, Rob Thomson has gone from, no injuries, we're doing well, to, well, all the guys are banged up.
Yeah.
Which should scare you
a
little bit, because, I mean, you're talking about this time of year, you need guys to start getting better.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden the Mets are creeping their butts back in. This is not good.
And Bryce Harper's banged up. JT Realmuto's banged up. Garrett Stubbs didn't play today because he was banged up. Austin Hayes is banged up. Edmundo Sosa's on the IL. Alec Bohm.
Tell me this isn't unbelievable. I mean, one day you're talking about #1 seed, and 2 days later you're talking about this team needs to get back on track. That's how tight it is right now.
Yeah.
Especially at the top end of the NL.
Yeah, there's still only a half game back of the Dodgers for the best record in the
Yeah, they're still right.
So let's not go. Okay,
He's probably wondering right now, will I ever get a big league start again? And it's going to be a tough night going to sleep on the pillow tonight for him, but hopefully he can get through this and learn from his mistakes. But look at that line, 58 pitches, 37 strikes. He did fill the strike zone on which we were asking for, but he was just in the middle of the plate.
Yeah.
And again, they're big league hitters. They're going to take advantage of that.
Now, when you ask, will he ever get it, or he's asking himself about the major league start, I'm thinking, of course, the answer is yes. He came up today. He's called up today. Over his last 3 starts since being called up to Lehigh Valley, he is 2-0 with a 0.56 ERA. International League Pitcher of the Week, the Phillies minor league pitcher of their system for the month. And you're thinking, all right, maybe this guy can do similar to what Tyler Phillips did in his debut, and it just wasn't to be.
You also can't discount nerves. And maybe that had a lot to do with his location today. Maybe it just was, here it is, hit it if you want. I'm going to be free and easy, just go out there and command these pitches. If you're out there and you're a little bit nervous, it's going to affect the way you grip the baseball, your release point. It affects everything if those nerves are going. I'm sure he was nervous. You think about it. He gets traded over from another organization, and then he finds himself in the same clubhouse with Bryce Harper and Trey Turner and Kyle Schwarber and JT Realmuto, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola. That's a whole different animal than starting in Double-A in Bowie for the Orioles.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Ben's right, but usually you lose those nerves pretty quickly. I mean, they always say the ball's an egg. Hold it like an egg. Hold it. Why are you squeezing it? When you start to get nervous, what do? You squeeze the ball tighter. It doesn't come out as fluid. We did see him throwing 95, 96 miles an hour, so that part was there. But where is that finish? Where is it? And Ben will tell you, the hitters will let you know. The hitters let him know.
Yeah, 10 times they let him. Well, 9 times for Seth Johnson.
We thought there was a legitimate shot that we were going to see a no-hitter today, but not to be done.
I thought his late movement was impressive. It was straight. It got to home plate. It just seemed like it went to different directions.
His changeup was nasty.
It was nasty. His off speed, his breaking ball was good. He was able to throw that early in counts, and then he can rush it up there too in the high 90s. He was good.
You two would know best. In the high 90s, had decent finish. He was obviously hittable because they got some hits and a run. Yeah. But should he have been hit more?
No.
Okay.
I thought he was good. Well, I mean, obviously you could say, he should have been hit more because the Phillies are built with 5 or 6, really great ball players on their team. But some days you just go in there, you're not seeing the ball well. The ball's disappearing on you on his changeup. So I just thought he threw a really good game. I'm not going to sit back and say, you know what, the Phillies, number one, they got it handed to them today. Okay, you want to hear the truth? They got their butts kicked. They got wiped all over that field, and they're on their way home right now. Probably not a care in the world, just getting on a plane, get home, let's start up a new series type thing. But, I mean, as far as today goes, it was an ugly game on both sides. They didn't hit the baseball. That's number one. Number two, they certainly did not pitch the baseball. When your best pitcher is your backup catcher coming into a game, there's a problem.
Yeah. But other than that, I thought good. No.
Name one positive you took out of today's game.
I liked their uniforms.
Ben?
I thought they were great.
Oh, I like the at-bats by Schwarber and Harper in the 9th inning. They did not give up.
They didn't give up.
Yeah, but
you know
that's
what?
like a
Pay me $33 million. I won't go. I won't
you
give
asked
up
for
at
something
that.
positive. I gave you something
there
positive.
you got a positive. You asked, he
Jiminy.
answered.
My word.
My word. A 5.33 ERA.
Oh, man.
Cabrera comes in, goes out with a 4.88.
Think about what they did to him at Citizens Bank Park a couple weeks ago. Kyle Schwarber, grand slam out to left field. They got him out. He didn't last very long. He didn't have his stuff that day. Today he had his stuff. So good job out of you.
Mm-hmm. All right, 2 straight losses to the Marlins. Meanwhile, to the manager's office at Lone Depot Park, here's Rob Thomson on the game.
So, Seth Johnson, they look nervous to you? Not real. Maybe the first couple of hitters, but between innings, he seemed fine. I just think he was up in the zone in the hitting zone. Stuff's okay. Might have been nervous the first couple of hitters, but the other thing is we got to check and see if he's not giving something up. Yeah, threw a lot of strikes in the limited time he was with you guys. Just a next to me today as well. Yeah, and I think a couple of hitters you got behind, and then like I said, you can pitch up, but you better pitch up, and we wasn't getting ball there. So I thought they were proud fun.
I think you got a little conversation at the end of the dugout.
Yeah. Just tell him that he's got good stuff because he does, and to keep battling, and everybody goes through these types of things, It's his first start in the big leagues. I'm sure at some point he's going to get another one. We haven't discussed who the next, who's coming back on Saturday yet, but he's going to pitch in the big leagues now.
Will you for sure come back with a fifth guy, or could you use the off day that not beef ones?
I'm sure we'll probably trip that. But again, we haven't discussed it. Well, Mike Cabrera so effective. Through strikes, because he got great stuff. It's just, he gets in trouble when he doesn't throw strikes, when he doesn't get ahead, and you just get ahead to it.
Rob Thomson saying Seth Johnson's going to pitch in the big leagues again, which we knew, but he also said at the very end that they're not going to reconfigure the rotation with off days, etc., that there will be the need for another fifth starter, and Colby Allard is eligible, so he would be the guy. Now,
He's been the only guy that has actually stepped in and done a legitimate job. Everybody else who has stepped in, it's been Chuck and Duck. I think the fans here and probably Rob Thompson's getting a little tired of Chuck and Duck.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm just trying to manage expectations. I don't want to make Colby Allard to seem like he's Steve Carlton, for goodness sakes. Is it right to expect that he's going to settle things down in that spot?
Well, I think it's right to expect him to make the next start in that rotation, that spot in rotation. He's been pretty good for the Phillies. He's put the Phillies in good situations to win ball games. He throws strikes. He's left-handed. He keeps guys off stride with his good changeup, and he can pound right-handers in. So I would expect him to make the next start in that spot in the rotation.
All right. That's Colby Allard coming up. How about Bryce Harper? We spoke about him earlier on. He's got 97 at-bats without a home run. Average is up. He's still clutch hitting, but the power is not there right now. Here's Harper post-game.
Obviously faced Cabrera a lot over the years. Something about him today that was, obviously he's got a great arm. Something about him today that was especially tough.
Yeah, I mean, he threw me a 3-2 horizontal about 17 inches, so that's a full plate. So definitely tough today. I thought he threw the ball well. Obviously, when he throws strikes and he's around the zone, he's tough. But just thought he threw the ball really good.
At that point in the season where, there's a magic number and, a divisional win and things to take care of, and also wanting to stay healthy. I mean, how much is that kind of in the back of everyone's mind of like, let's get to the finish line and let's be in as good a shape as we can possibly be in physically too?
Yeah, we just got to get going, keep going. This division ain't close to being done. Obviously, there's two good teams behind us. We're going to play, the Mets obviously a couple times, and we got to keep rolling. Can't really worry about the magic number or anything like that. That magic number's, nothing to worry about when it's not under 10 games. So just got to keep going, keep grinding. Obviously, as a team, we got to stay healthy the best we can, but we still got to play games and play the game, and got to get in.
You good on? I mean, you look like you winced maybe after that first swing and first inning.
Yeah.
In the game, obviously, but you just kind of one of those stingers, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said a couple days ago, I'm going to swing and miss, and it's going to hurt. So, I mean, you guys are going to see it probably for the rest of the year. So, just one of those things. Get it healthy in the offseason, things like that. But you guys are going to see it again, probably a couple more times by the end of the year. So.
A little frustrated that the double didn't carry the foot further and get over the wall for you?
Man, I'll take hits any way I can right now. So obviously homers will come. I know it's been a while, but I think I'm taking good swings and getting some good results. So just got to keep going.